Hi, guys. Good to see you. All right, so I've made my notes for today. And, you know, the, I guess one of the things that helped me a lot was knowing what I was doing. And that really took me a while. I've been teaching a lot of beginners lately. And there's a lot of assumption of putting it into, oh, I roll around the ball. And, we all understand exercise and what that is. And we have a lot of information. If you think about it, I would imagine that you probably have a lot of information about maybe what you should do or shouldn't do with your body as far as the way to bend and the way to stand. You could raise your hand or just if you agree or that doesn't seem to resonate with you. I mean, it's confusing. Is that why my back hurts because of the way I bend, or does my back hurt because I'm weak, or does the back hurt because I'm too tight? Or maybe my posture is bad, that's why my neck hurts. And my knees, Uncle so-and-so had bad knees, it runs in the family, I fell. So we have a lot of information about the physical body. And then there's our own personalities that you have to equate into it. My background is, Greek, and I'm, not that I'm going to lump a whole nation of people in with me, but I probably, could. I mean, go way back. And you were very dramatic. So every feeling I got was, just put that feeling on steroids if it wasn't good. If it wasn't a good feeling, I was dying and I, was never, ever going to change or ever get better. But as dramatic as I am, I find that most people feel that way about their body. Most people feel like they're kind of stuck with their physical body. And the missing link to all of this, what we're going to do today, is the experiential piece of it. And the good news is you don't feel your physical body. Your physical body is like the kid who gets the primer reading book in school and maybe you know a few words, but it's so much more than that. And it's not even as, it's kind of a simplistic example, because not only is it like learning anything, it gets richer and richer, but it's also something like the weather, it's always changing. So you have to kind of enjoy that process of learning from your body, which is what we're going to do today, as opposed to, and getting the emotional benefits from that, as well as the physical, as well as changing some of the way you look at your body. It's your body today teaching you. Whereas that whole mind-body connection, which I just wrote the blog Mind-Body Disconnection, because I don't see any mind-body connection with most people. All the mind-body connection going back the decades that I've been in this world is still the mind telling the body. It's still the mind telling the body, oh, you know what? If you would just relax, okay, let me work on that. Or if you would hold this up, or if you wouldn't be anxious. And that's why I have pain. It's because my physical body is hurting from some trauma I had in my life, which I don't discount that stuff. But your physical body, through this process we do today, can actually give you also information of feeling different. So your actual emotional feelings can come from allowing your physical body to have a voice. So that's why I've been doing this for the amount of decades I've been doing it. Eventually, I reserve the right to get back to what I initially tended to do in my life, which was not this. But when I realized just how I was with my chronic pain was going flow in the wrong direction. I just haven't stopped talking about it. So with that said, before we get into the experiential piece of it, I'm going to do something a little different, which is maybe more for me than it is you. I hope it helps you as well. Is I'm going to ask you to seriously, if any of that made any sense.
Yes.
Because if it only sounds good intellectually, right? That's a big deal when we end today and you do it on your own. Because a lot of times people listen to the directions. You know, I just taught this guy today for the first time. It's just very interesting, you know. I'll only tell you. I won't, he doesn't know. But I've had this for, so big guy, you know, I just did 3 yoga classes and my wife was going to be here. She couldn't come. And, you know, he came with his friend and, you know, it was, and, you know, like, you know, it's not an exercise class. Just want, oh yeah, no, I know. I just need to relax. I just need to relax. That's all. I just want to relax. Well, it's not really a relaxation class, but whatever. So we go through the class, long story short. He ends and he goes, wow, my wife is going to be so jealous. And he goes, at least I know now how to explain it to her. I said, well, good luck with that. It was kind of sarcastic of me. But if any of you have had the experience of trying to explain it to somebody, now the good news when you explain it to somebody is that's the way you guys are teaching yourself. So if you can't explain it to somebody, that tells you a lot about what you're telling yourself to do. Okay? So you are all the teachers. You are all the ones teaching yourself. That's what I'm hoping to do, is give you somewhat of a language. It's not complicated, but it is a language so that your physical body can be responsive. And then that in turn will have a different benefit for you. And so I said, you know, good luck with that. He didn't quite get that. And then he added, oh no, she knows all about this stuff. And you see, we also put it in that other category of the mind body rolling around on balls, release stuff or whatever. But it's really a much different process to just simply use the method to feel the physical body, which means today your feedback is the most important thing about doing the method. So anybody have a question before we move on or not understand what I'm saying? See, formulating the question is also challenging. That lets you know you either might be not like to speak, which I was never big on that, believe it or not. I was always asking questions after the class, which wasn't helpful. Or you really don't know, you know, you need to ask the question. You need to put yourself out there and say, what am I asking myself to do? Because if you can't ask the question, you don't know what to ask yourself to do when I'm not there. Right? Not that I wouldn't love to be there, but
That's a good question.
what's that, Alyssa?
What you just said is what I say to myself. What am I asking myself to do? And so I'm kind of processing and seeing what my response is. And sometimes I just got to listen, and I think it comes naturally. I don't know, but I'm just having faith in that.
I don't think natural is really, I don't think natural might not be the best word.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm searching for. Good words, the connection, I guess. So I just listen to you and see what
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
works.
All right. So anybody else? I'm suspicious.
Mhm.
What's that?
Hey, Elaine, I was just gonna just say that I just noticed as you were talking about how much my mind kind of wants to own the work and say, "Oh, I get it, I understand it," without actually listening or being open to what's happening during while we're doing the work. So it's just kind of an interesting awareness.
It really is. I do it to myself. I mean, I always say that I'll listen to my own tapes just because, and I get get different responses. And it's me talking because it's easy. It's easy for me to just have the directions. Otherwise, I have to do what all of you have to do is I have to remind myself that my mind is going all over the place, and I start doing the process, and it doesn't necessarily respond immediately, but I just go through the process. And the mind will still be, sometimes like I said, I'm very dramatic, even now, even though I really have experienced so much, I might say, oh, that's a new feeling. And my first thing is, it's never going to get better. That's always my response. So those things come in and out depending on your person or whatever. But those are the thoughts, Gordon. Those are the thoughts. And so they're kind of flying around all the time. They're never not going to be there in some way, shape, or form. But then you just stick to doing the work, right? So it's all of this is going on, like putting chocolate into milk, you create chocolate milk. All of this is going on in the human body at one time. That's why we somewhat get stuck in the mind of the thinking. The physical body will get stronger when you begin to embrace a little bit more that you so I think the preconceived notions, like what that guy said to me today, which is why I do these things too, is that you get it. I don't think we do get it. Because I think it's like going to the beach. You don't need to understand it, but
I
you need
remember
to let it in.
also.
You need to
That's
feel
very
physical body more. And that's something you do. I think that's a good point though, Gordon. You do have to kind of, yeah. How did you say that again, though? Say what you said again.
Just how the mind kind of wants to own it and say, "Oh, I get it, I understand it," and as opposed to be open to really what's happening in the moment, listening to the body, actually admitting that it does, like you said, that it doesn't get it, that it doesn't know,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah. That's what you said. Yeah, every time I do the work, I realize I'm not looking for any results. That's a killer.
mm,
Looking for results. I just do the work, and I never think I get it, ever, because I don't think I do. Because I think the magic when the publisher said, and they were kind of like, can we call it the miracle ball method? And I was kind of like, oh, and then I thought, well, if more people, which they did, get exposed to it, I'm going to go with these experts. And then I grew to love that because there are so many things you look at that are miraculous, a baby being born or like the ocean or just, looking at a bird, that are miraculous. Do I know do we know everything? That kind of makes it boring. The body will give you results based on how you do the work by opening your mind just a little bit to letting the process be very clear. And that's what leads us to the experiential piece of it. I think with what you said, which was kind of profound, Gordon, was, well, I think I get it. And so that's kind of the mindset I go with it in. But going into the mindset of it is of like, let's just feel what it is. You don't even need a moment to qualify if you're ready to do it. Just follow the directions. That's one piece, and then do the directions. That's the other piece that we're going to go over today. But what Gordon said messes up the directions. If you start trying to put it into like whether or not you like it, or whether or not it makes sense based on what my chiropractor said, or, so and so, then you're going to lose that miraculous ability that your body has, because it's a lot stronger and wants to do a lot more than we let it do. It gets free when it moves more, not when it's afraid. And there's so much out there like, is that going to hurt me? Is that going to do that? Right? So that's where we start to say, okay, what can this thing do? And so we start with, today, we're going to just experience the basics of some of those areas. Does anybody have anything that's specific they want to work on, Kelly?
I'm very into posture. You talked to us about feeling our body. My body feels comfortable in forward head posture. My body feels comfortable with my shoulders rolled over. That's where I'm happy. So I know that's not good for me. I need to stand up straight and put my shoulders back and
Oh,
my, go ahead.
okay, so you have this quote, not good posture. And are you really happy there?
Well, it doesn't hurt if I force myself to stand up
No, but
straight.
in that posture, you feel good?
No, but I'm physically comfortable, but mentally, no, I feel awful because I'm not secure in that kind of posture.
See, to me, it sounds like the physical is what's uncomfortable, and the mental, from listening to you, is where you're comfortable. You're comfortable with that physicality. You think by changing it, there's something unnatural about changing it. What we do is it's when we do, and when we do this today, and again, I think that's just like what Gordon said, that's just a beautiful thing to just explore what you said and just do the work today with that feeling. I mean, I don't see your whole posture. But a lot of times people want to change their posture because there's almost a sense of discomfort there. Maybe not even pain, but there's something about it that just doesn't feel right. Faking posture, faking being happy, your body posture comes out of feeling more of yourself. And that means that you have a jigsaw puzzle and you have a few parts and you have what you consider, this is just natural to me. But really, the more you feel your body, Kelly, the more you would start putting the picture together and just want to move more parts. See if you can get rid of the word posture and start looking at the parts that maybe you can integrate into moving that might be enjoyable for you. The end result will be good posture, but the process is what you'll miss. And the process is very enjoyable. Today, let's feel more parts of the body. And then your nervous system will want to use them. But those are very clearly in the directions. All of my ad nauseum, do you feel this? Do you notice that? Do whatever, is not because I want you to have body awareness. I don't want you to go through life with just two of the pieces of the jigsaw, because then you don't feel you have access to the whole. And then you have to actually take your body out into the world and not move it with good posture, move it. Right? Move it in all different. So the best part of bad posture, the best part of lower back pain is that you're doing something physical. A lot of people, of course I'm wearing bad colors. A lot of people really slump into their ribs, or their shoulders are rotated forward, or they squeeze their hips really together. So they think, oh, if I just relax. I don't know what relaxing is going to do. You still don't feel the parts, right? So you want to feel those parts and then see if they go to a different place after what we do today. And then you have to start exploring moving differently. And that's the whole body moves piece of the class. Does that make any sense? Sort of. You're on mute. Maybe you should be on mute. Maybe I don't want to hear what you have to say.
No. It's just ambiguous if you're new at this. It's very ambiguous concept.
Well, look at it this way. All of you, if we do a check-in right now, which I hope you do several times a day. So again, you could do it with your eyes open, closed, lying on the floor, sitting, or whatever. Get that sensory feedback from your body right now, how you're starting. Not the thought of, oh yeah, I get this, or not the thought of, oh, my posture is bad. So we're going to put a little sense of what you do notice about the way you're sitting. Now, one of the things that happens with this, which is the most important link to being able to improve, is being a little more specific with what you notice. So again, Kelly said her head was forward. I don't know if it is right now. Usually if the head is significantly forward, chances are the ribs are somewhat back or down. Is there any sense of where your breathing is? Do you lean into one leg more than the other? Is your pelvis lifted up or down? There's millions. You ever see two people walking exactly the same? Even identical twins don't walk exactly the same. There just aren't two bodies. I could never describe. That's why exercise doesn't work, one exercise for everybody, because nobody feels their body like the person next to them. But the most important piece is understanding that when you feel your body, you get a little more specific with what you notice. Now, so is that piece of it clear?
Yes.
Is that, is that ambiguous? Okay, so get that sense that you're taking that picture in your brain of what you notice, quality of your breathing, where it is, the sense of ease in sitting or not feeling very good in sitting, right? And this is just, like I said, it's first grade, opening the book, learning to read, right?
Elaine, I just thought of something. I'm taking, I have to do certain exercises. And so I'm very aware of what I should be doing. And I think about it, especially lowering my shoulders, keeping my back straight, keeping my head. So I'm very aware of those things. And it feels better when I do them.
Mm-hmm.
Because my body feels better and I know I'm supposed to be doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, so if you're sitting there and your shoulders are down and you feel good sitting, that's a good thing if you feel good sitting.
but I don't know if that's feeling my body the way you describe feeling it. It's not my whole body, with certain things that I know I have to do. I don't know if it's the same feeling my body that you're explaining.
It's the jigsaw piece again. Your body, that miraculous piece of it is you can focus on one or two things, and that might make you feel good, and that might be all you want. That might be all you need. Because you know what? My body feels great. Most people's, it doesn't, most people have a challenge. But if your body feels good, chances are, there isn't a lot you need to do. But if
But
you're
only those parts feel good. I
right,
don't,
so that's where you start bringing in the feeling of the whole, and you get a little more specific about different parts. And then you actually learn to go into second grade and start moving those parts, and you realize they all have a functioning that is miraculous because it is something that just happens. Your body knows. Nobody gave you an exercise book when you were 2 to learn how to walk, right? Or is it 1? I don't know when they walk. So I'm just saying, so you may have things that feel great. People start the class feeling great. You don't have to feel bad, but then your body will still give you more information
Mhm.
because you're feeling it. It's not going to do that when you're running around and, busy and stressed, and it's only going to give you information. Sometimes when you actually get a sense, sometimes it can change very quickly when you get good at it, because you notice, oh my God, I'm going into that place where, I'm holding my breath and stiffening up and I really can't move freely. And you know what to do in a moment because you've read the book, you've kind of like, understand the language. So again, you go by pleasure or pain. If you're starting and you feel great, that's a I don't think it's a lightning rod, but it's a sense of comparison. So you go, yeah, this feels good, or that, I kind of notice where my breathing is. That's it. It's 15 seconds. That's how you're starting. All right. So anybody else have any questions or comments before we move on to the experiential piece of it? Or again, now we're going to go into, Joyce, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted, I recently, a couple weeks ago, got a bone contusion from jumping and landing and on my right leg. I am experiencing other pain, obviously, because I wasn't walking correctly. The doctor wanted me to be using crutches, which I was using, even though I could put pressure on the leg, and I'm able to walk. I Within this last week, I stopped using the crutches. I'm walking more regularly, but I was just wondering if maybe there's something that you might recommend in what we do today that could help with the healing of this and not making other parts of my body atrophied.
Exactly. That's why we do this, because it allows your body to change as a whole. And sometimes we just focus on the area that hurts, and the body works as a whole. So you might start with the different postures and the different challenges as feeling your body in parts, but the nervous system works as a whole. You may not feel it as a whole in the beginning, right? When we start today, but you're going to feel what you feel. The right and wrong doesn't register to the physical body. All that registers is the sense of getting that experience of your breathing so that it can give you circulation and that it can begin to self-adjust through feeling. And
Okay, thank you.
you have to be then responsive. That's the part 2, and decide, oh, do I want to stay in that place? Or is there a sense of, wanting to move, and you're in this partnership with your body? And it's not about one part. It's about experiencing and trusting this sense of the whole. So with that said, we're going to start lying down. All right, so stretch yourselves on the floor. If you want, and I can watch you, you can angle your camera so that I can see you. If you don't want, that's fine. That's completely your choice. All right, so again, stretching yourselves out. So here's the cool thing about your body, right? We just sort of checked in a bit. And as I said earlier, every time you, right? What do they say? Those crazy things like no 2 fingerprints are the same. That's pretty nuts if you ask me. Like, that's amazing. Or no two snowflakes. I don't know how they figure that out, but no two snowflakes. I mean, there's so many things that just don't repeat, right? That aren't just, and yet with bodies, we go to our body with this sense of like, okay, what should I do? Is this right? Is that wrong? Is, but really just give yourself to the feeling of what you notice lying down on the floor to begin with. Okay. So, I mean, posture, whatever posture you had sitting, it's probably pretty much reflected in the way you rest on the floor. And if you just want to feel that. And your breathing is going to go into areas where it can go, and it's not going to go into areas where we don't let it go. So all you're doing is kind of noticing what you notice. All right. Now, my job is to maybe point out some areas that might be helpful to you, right? So maybe it starts to give you a little bit of a language. So if you bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor, bodies change as a whole. Never, for the rest of your life, ever think that when you do anything, just that part is moving. It's just not true. Right? Just not true. So again, if I could save you any time in trying to, explore that, stretch your legs out again and notice if your body changed in any other parts. And you can explore that, right? You can let your legs get a little heavier each time. You can bend your knees again, please. Rest your feet on the floor and notice, are your legs right? There's all these overlapping. Think of, the woven fibers of a sweater. Stretch your legs out again. Do you feel any movement through the rest of your body? Does your rib cage go up or down? What kinds of things? Does your head move? Do your shoulders want to go into a different place? Right? Bend your knees again. Rest your feet on the floor. Right. And every time you move, and every one of you in every picture I see, the pelvis, right, is connecting to those legs. So the next time you bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor, rest your hands on your hip joints, which are those big hip bones at the top of your pelvis. You were all sitting, so your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor. And so that's your leg joint. That is everything to the body. And now this is a little bit of, again, experiential. Just roll your pelvis a little forward and back. So first of all, for most humans, finding the pelvis is a big deal. But just play around with it and I'll watch you and see, how that works out. So what you were sitting on was the bottom of your pelvis, your sits bones, and the top of your pelvis, your hip flexors, right, your hip bones. That's pretty much where your hands are now. And so you're rolling forward and back. That's around the top of your leg, right? So every one of you did that differently. So when you did that movement, did any of you notice that your back probably moved? Maybe the feet on the floor, maybe it felt a little different on the right or the left side. Did anybody notice that? All kinds of different things go on with your body. All right, and so you're going to take a ball, two balls, one under each hip, and just rest on the balls and feel the weight there. So just give in to gravity, rest on the balls, and feel the weight, right? And please, anybody have a question, feel free, or there's plenty of time to ask questions because it takes time for you to feel the weight. So you have a ball under each hip. This is you doing it at home, right? Arms out to the side and just stretch your legs out and just rest like that. All right, stretch your legs out. All right. And there should be no pain when you do this. So if you have pain, move the balls into a place where you don't have pain. Everybody know where their pelvis is? You feel the weight on the balls? Okay, so that's a really good area to spend some time with. So what are you saying to yourself when you're there? I don't know. I always feel a lot when I've got two balls under my hips. Does a lot happen? Well, I feel like a lot sort of stops happening. Like a lot of the kind of clenching most of us do in our hips, or a lot of the kind of breath holding that I do, or the kind of like, I'm in this position, as I, ask myself to kind of use the ball as something to rest on, that sort of allows my body to stop doing what it was doing, right? So my belief is that the body doesn't, like the happiness we feel in the body, sometimes it is a very interesting thing. Like, yeah, I would never work on it if I didn't have any, discomfort, let's say. That was my motivation, my pain and whatever. Now I still do it just because I like to, I like to keep moving. I just like the feeling of letting my body recover. So let's add your S sound. So on an exhalation, make the sound of the S for one exhalation. And you're going to do this now for the next, as long as we go through the rest of the class. You'll make your S sound. You'll feel the weight. Bring your arms out to the side and notice the feeling of your breathing. Does anything you notice about your response after the S sound? Where does the air go? And does it give you any more clarity in your shape? Are your ribs up or down? Do you feel the air, right? So the air in the physical body, it's like putting air in a balloon. It creates like this sense of the whole, right? Wow. Oh, I didn't notice that part before. So sustain the exhalation. That's toning up your diaphragmatic muscle, right? And notice if things begin to settle or change or get a little bit heavier on the balls. Anybody have any questions? Anybody not notice anything? Because again, this is the same body. Now, and remember that we're not doing like, a magician's trick. Once you roll over and come back up to sitting up, then everything goes back into the same place. This is the same body that you're going to take back to sitting and standing and walking around. So that's where, if it's not changing in some way or gaining some feeling, well, we want to talk about that. So bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor now with the balls under your hips. Did that change different parts of your body now?
I have a question.
Yes, Elizabeth.
When I'm lying down and then the balls and then the one leg, the foot went out to the side. Is that like
You
why
had
would
the balls under each hip and the legs were stretched out.
yes. And then the one leg wanted to, I could really tell because the foot at the end of the leg went out to the side. Like that's not like why would it do that? I didn't tell my foot to go out to the side.
Well, you've trained it to do that. It doesn't, the body really, again, has this sort of, the beauty of it is it adapts to what it's taught to do. Now, it may not be logical, right? But you notice, again, natural left the room years ago with adults. Years, like, go back to 10 years old or 12. We start moving in certain ways based on our stress levels, even then, based on how our mom or dad moved and how other people in the neighborhood, women, if they're like, 6.5 feet tall, might move, not so much today as years ago, but tall people move a certain way. It's sometimes sad to watch. Because again, all that stuff. So
I just, I was probably rear-ended. I can't imagine. Could be about 40 years ago. And I still have a bit of tightness in that side of my back. So would that sort of mean that different muscles are,
I mean, it could be, and those are the things that, I've spent years thinking about. Your body pretty much is like a novel. It's like, probably volumes and volumes of history in our bodies. And if we don't like change up the dialogue from time to time with some different responses, it keeps doing what we've taught it and what it's experienced. And the fears and the anxieties of pain. I had an illness as a child, was horrifying, and then I thought I was super weak, even though I was really strong when I was a kid before that illness. But boy, the fear of getting that illness back, I literally tiptoed through several years of my life until my chronic pain. So bodies are very interesting because they're talking to us, but through pleasure and pain. And they are very affected by kind of how we experiment. So we've got our knees bent, our feet on the floor. Now I'm going to ask you to just pick up one foot and let the lower leg dangle and just have the knee directly over the ball on that side. So make sure the lower leg is dangling and the knee is over the ball. And you can kind of circle it around small, very small, just the tip of the knee. So this is your femur head dropping into the pelvis. Yeah, so don't go crazy with the movements. No, just let the leg dangle. It's from the tip of the knee to the head of your femur dropping on that left ball. So let the lower leg dangle. Some of you are trying to get a nice big stretch by throwing your lower leg around. No, I just want the lower leg to just drop against, yeah. All right. That's it. So you feel that kind of drop into your hip there, that hip crease. I'm going to take that as a yes. And then you're going to use your hands on the top of the tip of that knee, and you're going to fold it into you. Both hands around the top of the knee, fold it in. Yeah, you don't need to pull the pelvis off the ball. You're folding at a link, right? This is the most important link in your body anatomically. So some of us have decided, when we stretch our leg, we're going to pull the knee to the nose, which of course then takes the whole pelvis with you. So do not let go of the clasp of your hands around your knee, but just extend your arms a little bit so the knee goes back over the hip again. And then fold it in towards your body so you increase the crease in the leg and keep the length in the lumbar spine. All right, so just do that over and over again. That's it. Fold it into you, and then you're going to keep the clasp around the knee, but you're going to let your arms stretch out so the knee goes back over the hip, and then fold it back in again. All right. Yeah, do not let go of that knee because the knee is resting against your clasped hands. So it works as a resistance. So you can feel that forward and back. Right. So just by looking at you, I would maybe give you a sense again of the old paradigm of exercise is alive and well in this room, which is I'm moving my leg, the rest of my body can just tighten up. I can hold my breath and it's not really there. Okay, that history is gone. It is a waste of time. Rest your right foot on the floor. Slide your right leg out. You can rest your arms. Yeah, notice when you stretch that leg, flex and stretch the foot on the right leg now. Do you feel it all the way up your side? It's the quality of the way you do the movement, meaning with some sense of like, oh yeah, I can still feel my arms and shoulders. I can still feel my head. This is the whole body is here is moving. Yeah, bend the right knee again. The left foot is on the floor now. The left foot is on the floor. Lift up the right knee over the right ball. what happens through the rest of your body. Just first hang out like that without your arms. That should be enough just to, like, you know, the left knee is bent. The left knee is bent. See what yeah. And so your right knee, right? We're doing the right knee, am I right? Yeah, the right knee is over the right hip. Okay, so that's the longest, strongest bone in your body. All right, anybody holding their breath? If you are, go back to your S sound. You're not happy with that? I know some of you are not happy. You're like trying to figure out, like, what should I do? I don't know. That's a huge angle for the body to digest. You know, they got to take it in. Now you can wrap your hands around the top of the left knee, right? I can see you're already involving more parts of your body, even though you're first graders. Fold it in, let it move away. Do not lose that grip on the knee, because the pressure against your hands is also going to stretch your shoulders. That weight of that massive femur bone, as you let your leg move away from your torso and the knee is over the hip now, that's also going to stretch your arms. These are levers and pulleys. Now, as you fold your thigh in, that right thigh, can you kind of reach your side body, your hip, a little towards the far end of the room, wherever that is, away from your head? Or is it just, again, no, I don't go there? Well, then you're just going to only know how to say a few words, right? And you want to go there because I think this feels amazing. That's me. That's why I do this. All right, lift up your left leg too. Bend your left knee up. That's right. Good. All right. And just let them fold in. You can let your arms rest on the floor and just make your S sound. There's a lot of sensory input going on there. This is, right? This is that intersection, the foundation of movement for your entire body. I didn't make that up. What do kids do before they walk? They crawl. They sit up. Where do they crawl? Their leg joints. A great exercise. Any questions? Because some of you look like you're struggling. Struggling with the directions, I see. Okay, so some of you, do you notice you're holding yourself in a position really tightly? I'm not asking you to go limp. It's just checking out. If you notice there are no signs of life and you're not noticing that you're breathing, I'm not asking you to make yourself breathe. I'm asking you to notice if you're holding your breath. Right? That would be time to make the S sound. All right, so go ahead, take your feet down one at a time. Stretch your legs out and move the balls to the bottom of your pelvis one at a time. And so what are the, you know, here's another massive, we didn't create this, right? I didn't create gravity, you didn't create gravity, you didn't create the body, but you just took half your body and stretched it out on two balls. I mean, laws of physics, other parts of your body are going to feel that. So that's where it's, again, you don't have to invent it, but you do have to taste it. You do have to explore. Why wouldn't breathing keep happening? The balls are now to the bottom of your pelvis. All right. Make your S sound. Anybody have a question about their directions or they don't feel anything? Please, you're not hurting my feelings. Trust me. You may not like what we're doing. That doesn't mean you don't like me. I learned that in therapy 30 years ago. I was like, really? I feel like they don't like me. And the therapist said, no, they just don't like what you do. I said, that's not a problem. So again, this is for you to get what you need. So if you have a question, please ask. So if the middle of the body, your rib cage, is a really, really big deal. So we explored the pelvis, right? Bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor again. What happens to the lower back? when you bend your knees and you rest your feet on the floor, or the back of your rib cage. It's a big rib cage. Is it sinking any lower? Can you not feel it? Between your hips, thank you, Gretel, between your hips and your shoulders and the back of your head and neck, there is a massive, massive length of your spine called your rib cage. It is your new best friend. It is my favorite part of the body, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to, again, explore, learn a new word, arch your rib cage, lift it up off the floor a little bit, almost like you're sticking your belly out, and then just let it sink back down. That's it. Let me see it come back down when you're ready. Just let gravity do it, right? Again, why would you have to reinvent the wheel? Bodies go down. You want to work with what you've got. All right. Now, some of you, I don't know if you notice, you lift your ribs up. I don't really see it go down. So you notice that? Anybody notice the ribs aren't really moving? Do it with your knees bent, Kelly. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier. So you're lifting your ribs up, stretching them out. What happens to your pelvis and your shoulders? Anybody feel it in other parts of their body? So every movement you do impacts another part of you moving, even when we come up to sitting in a few minutes. Anybody feel like their breathing changes when they move their ribs? So when you stretch your ribs, it's like you're stretching the wall of a balloon. You stretch your thoracic area, wow. And sometimes it takes a long time because there's sometimes a lifetime of areas of the body that we just don't explore. All right. All right, so now you're going to take the balls one at a time and put them to the top of the pelvis. You had them sort of in the middle. We went down to the bottom. Now you're going to put them at the top of the pelvis. Right. Pick your feet up off the floor. Let your thighs fold in. Notice if that's any different for the back of your rib cage, your lower spine. The angle on the right. Good, Barbara. Very nice. That's a different stretch. But if you do not acknowledge when you do the work on your own, specific parts of your body, pick your feet up off the floor and let your thighs fold in. Oh, that changed that. Then you can't use it when you stop doing the ball work. You can't use it when you come up because your brain didn't, it's still too general. Oh, I feel good. Oh, I don't feel good. All right, but the body says, wow, what's different there? How did that connect all the way up my back? Make your S sound. Yeah, just hang out there. Don't keep moving. Don't keep moving. Because sometimes the moving is like you're looking for something. You don't know what you're looking for. So just stop moving. Let the weight give you that connection. All of the moving is your idea about what you think is right or wrong and all that stuff. You haven't even felt the weight yet. You haven't even felt anything and you're holding your breath. All right, so the legs are together, right? I want you to become like a little mermaid or merman leg. Inner thighs, right? So up near your hips, top of the legs, your inner thighs are sort of touching. Some people's can, some people's can't. It's okay. And then you're going to just pull the zipper down to your knee, right down through your calves, down to your ankles. Your legs have become one leg. Your arms are out to the side. It doesn't mean you need to strain your neck or your shoulders. That weight is counterbalancing this. All right? Yeah. Okay, put your feet on the floor and let's move the balls lower because it's going to be harder for some of you with the balls up higher. So let's just move them back down lower to the middle, not the bottom, just the middle. Okay, now bring up that one leg, the inner thighs touching. Yeah, some of you are not inner thighs touching. Fold in, just fold inner thighs touching, not crossing. You're not crossing legs. Right. Okay, rest like that. All right. So the reason the inner thigh is so important right now is because it connects to your lower spine. That's why we're doing it this way. And it's a very unfamiliar way of moving, right? It's connected to your lower back, but it's also connected to your rib cage, right? So your inner thighs are kind of cool and they're going to give you a sense of support. When you're ready, you're going to flex and stretch your ankles. Just get a sense like your feet are resting against an imaginary wall. And again, just like Gordon, said early on in the beginning, he goes, sometimes you go, oh yeah, I've got this. And that's the difference between people being good at something, right? And I know you're all good at things, right? But when it comes to bodies, it's amazing how people assume they've got it. But when you flex and stretch your feet and your inner thigh muscles are stretching, let's see what happens now. Pretend your feet are resting against an imaginary wall. Perpendicular to the floor is a wall. Slide your feet up towards the ceiling. And just lengthen your legs out using your inner thighs. Let your arms rest. Why would you hold on to your arms? They are counterbalancing the movement. No, the feet need to be over the hips. If they can't go there, don't do it. Reach your hips up. your inner thighs up. What went down? Anybody holding their breath? Do not do this if this hurts. What went down? Identify what went down. Flex and stretch your legs. Check out your inner thighs. Where's your breathing? Yes, some of you are trying to pull yourself right up off the ball. That's your pelvis lifting. Your legs went up. Something went down. Then gradually bend your knees. Yep. Rest your feet on the floor. Let's take the balls away one at a time. Slide your legs out. Take the balls away. Feel the weight. So again, you've just done this on your own. You can throw everything back into your original positions. I do it all the time. And then I notice, oh yeah, I don't need to throw my ribs forward and stick my chest out. That's just a position that I always go in. If I think logically, most of my body would be resting on the floor now. And where would my breathing go? Meaning that would be the direction gravity would take you in. So you're working with weight and breath. Roll your head slowly from shoulder to shoulder and just get that sense. Oh yeah, there we go again. There's the head just disconnected from the rest of the body. That's how we turn our head. I guess we get a gold medal for turning the head. No, you get a gold medal when you turn your head and you start feeling like you enjoy other parts of the body working. Whatever that is. It could even be a bad letting other parts of the body move. But the way of just isolating one part from the rest is not going to serve you. So anybody notice? You could just raise your hand, or if you want to say something, anybody feel like their breathing has changed or something about the way they lie on the floor is different? Anybody?
Us that it's the line on the floor. It's a much flatter experience. So and the breath is somewhat elongated.
Okay, so you're feeling your body as a whole now. You could put your head down. Thank you. Yeah. So you're feeling your body more as a whole, Gordon.
Yeah.
Now there are individual parts, just like when I make soup. I've got lots of different ingredients that I'm ultimately going to create a soup. All those things are blended. So right now, all of us, again, what you get more aware of is the physical feeling of the body. That's what gives you the ability to then move differently. Not right or wrong. You feel the whole, and you also feel parts. Have any specific parts of your body changed? Like maybe you feel a little more in the ribs, maybe the legs are resting differently, maybe you sense the pelvis more. For beginners, this is, sometimes monumental, or sometimes it's like I'm speaking from another planet, right? And that's okay. I've been there, I know. So when you're ready, It's only the last few minutes of the webinar, so let's pretend we don't know this body. You're gonna roll over onto your side. You're still gonna kind of play around with it like you were 2, and you're gonna come back up to sitting. If you sat on the floor when you started, or you were sitting on a bench or the chair, go back there and just be open-minded to sitting the way your body feels, right? Not the way you might be comfy going, oh, I want to go back there, whatever. That's a different dialogue. Feel your physical body and sit with this feeling that Gordon just described beautifully, which is, it kind of feels elongated. Well, I would assume something's changed in your sitting. Where's your breathing now? Right? Don't try to analyze it, please. Then you take the fun out of it. You could analyze it later, okay? And go ahead, make your S sound. And just get a sense of that feeling of how your body finds balance. So remember, your body, beautiful, your body does know where balance is. Your ideology is like, wait a minute, should I relax my shoulders? You know, like, this, don't go there. Don't go there. Just use your body. Your body wants to just feel how it's sitting. That's it. Now just bend forward, hang over, give in to gravity. Beautiful. Don't think, please, unless you're in pain, and then all bets are off. You gotta listen to how that might change the way you move. Beautiful. Everybody. So are you really feeling the weight? Yes, I can see it. Are you letting yourself breathe? If you feel like stretching or move around, just listen to your body like a cat. Do you think they got a little direction of exercise? Do it this way, wiggle it around. Oh, I never move my rib cage. Move it. Maybe you never lengthen your sits bones either. Beautiful. That's it. And when you come back up, really use the entire body. Remember, your head is going to want to know where the pelvis is. You may decide you want to throw yourself into your favorite good posture position with my neck and shoulders, but your body has a logic of where balance is. And just play around with that idea that maybe your pelvis has something to do. We did a lot with the legs today. So now just reach your hands up towards the ceiling, lengthen out, right? Just reach. That's it. Let your head move too. Oh, yep. No, we're going to have to go back for one person. Okay. Let's try this again. Just because in the old days, look at this. We move our arms, our head just stayed where it is. But you see, this is a different world. When you move your arms, your whole body, yes, keep going, lifts up. It wants to do something. And what did it lift? It moved. You're not doing an exercise. That's it. Good. Stretch it out. Bring your arms down. Reach like you're going to touch a wall next to you. You don't have to drop anything else. Everything else likes to stay connected to that pelvis. Let your arms down. Right. And just get a sense now of the feeling of the weight of your arms. It's not going limp. You can still, you get on the bathroom scale. You don't have to become a puddle on the floor to feel your weight. You can still feel the weight of your body and be lifted up. That's why we breathe, because that allows your body to do this amazing thing of be upright and feel the weight down. And that's called balance. So let's compare with when you first sat down. Again, it doesn't have to be miraculous, meaning like, oh my God, you know, this, that, because humans' ideas of what the body feels like are just that, they're ideas. But the physicality of the human body is just amazing. We have it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just feel it out. And it will find what it needs. It may not need what you have been told, right? But it does need to breathe, and it does need to feel. And breath gives you feeling. So just allow it to kind of experience this. So before we end, does anybody notice anything specific, different about their sitting? Or the feeling of your breathing? Have you changed?
My breathing is deeper.
Okay, well, I can see what you're doing, and all I can say is now things are in little different places. You can stand up and walk around and move this body. You have to learn from the physical body now. Stand up, walk around your room. It's different when you stand on two legs, because all of a sudden we get all freaked out that, wait a minute, no, but you can still feel that sense of freedom I saw you had, the way your head was up, right? The feeling of your breathing, maybe your ribs, maybe you got a sense of that you didn't have before, right? And separate your feet wider than hip joints distance apart. Press your feet against the floor and just feel that stance, right? So there is no part of you in this stance, especially with your feet apart, that's weak. Have your feet, wake them up a little bit, press against the floor. You're just pushing your feet against the floor. Do you remember Mighty Mouse? I don't even know if there is a Mighty Mouse anymore, but you press your feet against the floor and then he goes like this. Here I am. Don't you feel when you press down that you can lift up? Right? You wouldn't press down and go like this. There'd be no logic there, right? So bodies really, when you push them in a direction, they have a lot of like, oh, okay, I'll go over there. Now just bend forward and hang over. Keep that connection to your legs. Just hang, feel the weight. Yeah, I know some of you got like really scared there. That's what we know. We got a few more things. We have to move into second grade. Hang over there, feel your leg joint. Beautiful. And that stretch is going to stretch every muscle in your body. If you're bending at your leg joint, you can bend and straighten your knees, but some of you are bending at your back. So we'll have to go over that another time. Just look at me one time, right? So some of you bent over, right? So all of that stretching you did, all of this stuff here with your legs, beautiful, lying down. You sat beautifully, you hung up. And as soon as we hung over, and then I'll stop, as soon as we hung over, you bent from your back. That's why you can't go anywhere. You bent from your back. See all that? But everything we did with our leg joint, the leg joint is much lower. You have bending at your leg. Right? I'll move back. You're bending at your leg. I had to learn that. So again, if you feel, oh my God, it's going to hurt my back, it's because you don't bend at your leg joint. And that's something you have to allow your brain to feel the back. Okay, so that you can get that feeling. And then once you get it, you never lose it. But that's also that's very good. Strengthening experience. Let your head hang too, Kelly. Feel the weight of your rib cage. Stay connected to your legs and your whole body picks you up. So yeah, Dan, if you turn to the side, just so I can see what you're doing, I think I can see. Yeah, so that where your hands were, sweetie, at the top of your hip, go back up, go back up, go back up. Show me where you had your hands, right? Up here, right? When you bend, your leg joint is down here, right? Yeah. So, right, it's lower. Do it again. Bend your knee again. Bend your knee again. Right. Yeah. Put your hand, it's lower, your leg joint. So when you bend over, it's in the leg, right? When you get it, yeah, just go all the way over and see if you can. If you have pain, then just don't go there. But that's why we get pain, because we don't bend at the leg. Takes a while to find that. But that's not your leg joint up here. That's the top of your pelvis, why we get the backaches. All right, ladies and gentlemen, any questions before we stop? Great job. You have to practice that hanging over and the sense of coming up, and just allow your body to explore movement. It doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in exploring after you go on the balls and you're breathing and you go, oh yeah, wow, something's different. You realize, wow, I'm just moving a little different. And then things like that leg joint, that's really good, Alyssa. Yeah, because that's your power and your strength is your leg joint. So that is worth, um, it takes a while to find that, you know, but when you do, you never lose it. So that's the good news.
I have one quick question. I think
Sure,
it's quick.
Barbara, what's that?
Uh, when we bend over, well, I think it was in the first book when it was the whole body movement at the, you know, um, it's it said to come back up and then kind of fold back up. So I always thought that I was needing to get my spine to unwind or just stand up from my hips. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, the thing is, you're in a building, you're in the lobby, there's a floor below your lobby. That's called your basement. If you think about it, this area here, right, where you see this blue, this is the top of your pelvis. The basement, see here, that blue isn't moving at all. That's the joint. When I bend over, I can go and bend flat,
Right.
or I can round, but at some point, I'm bending at the leg joint that you have to. So whether you decide you're going to come up this way, rounding up or straight, you're bending at your leg.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
that's life changing
Yeah.
because nobody, especially don't teach adults that enough. And so people will spend a lifetime clenching their glutes, kind of keeping this locked, which is good to have strong glutes, don't get me wrong, but that's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on your lower back. So we need that flow of movement through the leg. That's what you're missing, that connection to the leg.
Well, I really think I have it. I was just curious if I was supposed to be rounding up as
You go
well.
either way, because at some point you're going to be in the basement. You're going to have to connect the leg to the pelvis at some point. It's
Right. Yeah.
really-
And I always make sure that I do feel that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And that power going down is going to allow you to lift more of your body up. And that's the middle of the body we've been talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
A little bit more power on the opposition there.
Yeah. Ever since we've been doing this, when I reach down, because I'm always having to reach down to get buckets of water or whatever, I have been much more conscious of making sure that I'm bending at the leg joints and not just bending like this to pick it up.
Right, right.
You know, and it really has made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I see the improvement, and you know, I guess I'm like any other teacher, even though I don't think of myself as a teacher, I definitely feel like, you know, get the whip out. As soon as I see progress like that, I just want you to realize your body is going to constantly give you more and more information. And so use that connection through the rest of your spine more. Because you've
Yeah.
got the leg joint thing now. I just don't feel you're really using your strength in that whole opposition. It's a little, you know,
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
yeah, that's just another step. I mean, I'm still working on stuff. I got like files of things. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that one, you know. It's just fun because the body will just keep improving.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like my mind overrides or overwrites the body that or the feeling that I had developed during my sessions on the ball and so forth. Sometimes my mind just decides to do something different.
Exactly.
Off the
Yeah.
ball.
Exactly. We think exercise ends at the end of a class when all day long you have the opportunity to move your body any way you want to move it. So
Yeah.
a lot of people get done with a class and they just go right back into their, you know, like, oh yeah, this is how I stand. But that's just, again, unless you enjoy that feeling. But to me, I like the feeling of like, wow, I'm, you know, able to breathe. And that for me, you can't breathe if your body is in places where it prevents you from breathing. So really the breath is your life. And so the quality of your breathing is a result of your stiffness. And so it can't go into those new places. So it's not about having to do, splits and, be a professional this or that, but it's about the joy of being able to let your breath move your body. And then it's just so much psychological pressure is off and freedom. So I just check out during the day if, like I just start noticing, yeah, I'm gonna, make a few S sounds while I'm, in the car, or people do it on trains and all that stuff. So, I mean, the S sound, maybe is too loud, but there's a lot of other things. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, I feel like you guys did a great job. I hope, you have something to take with you and to practice, and that it wasn't too ambiguous, because I know that it is very much a different language. And so I want you to be able to, and Gordon said it perfectly in the beginning, it's like, yeah, okay, I've already got that part, let's do the work. But I'm telling you, I've done that for years, where I'm like, you've jumped over the part that is just let your body give you information. And that piece of it is more powerful than I think people realize. And it's not just the pieces in the beginning. Well, I just feel my right hip. Yeah, that's because you just started. But then when you go on the ball and you, kind of like feel the weight, you start feeling more parts. Your body's just going to do that if you're feeling the weight, right? Because you only feel physically your body because of gravity. That's how you feel it. Stiffness and the habit is all like distorting gravity, because you remain in those habits, not logical. So that's it. That's all it is, really. So that's all I got. Don't have anything else.
I feel my body much more. Thank you.
Good, good. It does take a while. Good to see you, Sharon. Yes, it does. Stuff, for me, it was just so curious, because it's just very curious, like why it worked. It made no sense to me why it worked, even for a moment, just for a moment, I was like, wait a minute, how did that happen? And then I was like angry for years, just because it made no sense. Why did everybody tell me to do 500 sit-ups? But that's good too. Just do the sit-ups and don't hold your breath when you do them. That's all. Good job, Alyssa. You look good. Middle of the body, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm giving. Take that with you. Middle of the body. Yes. Lift it up. Feel your back muscles. Stretch it out. Don't be stuck. Have a great rest of your day.
Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.